Well, good morning, our beloveds. This is take 2. Our another is thinking too much and is questioning our first message because she cannot see what we can see. So we will use this as the launching pad for our next message. When you think and believe that you know what is right, and you're not willing to allow Spirit to guide you, then there's no point. Now, we say this tongue-in-cheek. Our another is really good at surrendering, but we used a term that she was unfamiliar with, and she Googled, and in her mindset, this message does not align with her understanding. It's not broad enough. And so she was questioning rejecting it, not sharing it, because it doesn't align with her perspective. And it's not that she's wrong. She is trying so hard to be open and expansive and inclusive in many ways that in doing this, she again has a perception of what our messages should look like, could look like, would look like. And because this one didn't go far enough to the right to be inclusive, she thinks that we must be wrong. And it's fine, because we encourage her to explore her belief systems. Having said that, we just channeled that for each and every one of you, that no matter what you believe, it is based on a perspective that was curated in your childhood to a certain extent, and then modulated during your adult years. You created a coping mechanism and a belief system that is overlaid your soul imprint. How is it that 5 children in the same home can end up so differently? And people say, well, the home environment wasn't the same, the parenting wasn't the same, the order within the family isn't the same. But what these analysts of sort forget or disagree with is that there's also a soul imprint. When a child comes out of a womb, that is the imprint. And then it is modulated by the family systems. But if you don't believe that your soul has a purpose here to explore and expand and process certain cultural beliefs, certain narratives, certain past ancestral traumas that have been passed down, if you don't believe that that narrative is true, then all you believe is that everybody comes in a blank slate, and that you are imprinted just by your genes and your biology and your history, meaning that there is intergenerational trauma that's passed down through genetics as well as learned behaviors. And then just the environment itself. These are the things that you believe form and dictate humanity. But when you overlay it with astrology, astronomy, where you all fit into the astrological imprint, and birth order and traditional beliefs that need to be cremated, annihilated, transposed, transmuted. So long as you don't believe that there is a bigger picture here at play, you will continue to believe that science is your God, as others believe that God was their God, through a hierarchical framework. But it is now, as you move from the patriarchy to something new, which we would say is a blending of the divine feminine with the divine masculine, when you each come into your own energetic imprint without cultural programming, what does that look like? Will you be more nomadic and wandering? Will you still have the traditional family structure mother, father, child that many of you adhere to? Or will it just be a community-based family system where you raise one another's children, where it doesn't matter who the father is of the child, where it is free-flowing love? Or will it be somewhere in between? Will you have healthy relationships that allow flexibility, or will you be rigid in whatever your belief system is? These are the things that you as a collective get to determine now. And how you build this out to a certain extent will dictate what it will look like at the end of the day. And we want you to notice that we chose the word dictate because you are in the time of dictators and dictatorship. How will you allow this fear-mongering / strength position to formulate what the future will look like for all of you? Do you really want to live in war-torn countries that will expand as others try to take you over and you try to take them over? Or do you want to respect your neighbors, to invite them in and they invite you in, where you have this cross-cultural, multi-layered, multi-dimensional, ergonomic flow of love, economic development, prosperity, and cultural awareness? You also desperately want to be right, that others must be wrong. And we just simply encourage you to check your privilege at the door. What makes you, you, is your sense of entitlement, that you are right. And you get to dictate and determine and enforce your belief systems on others. But what if your soul imprint is different than somebody else's soul imprint? Because you each are here to learn something differently. And by you trying to force your terms on somebody else, you are, to a certain extent, right, denying them the opportunity for their own growth phase. Having said that, you all are in the same stew, and you are all here to teach one another the lessons that you are here to teach one another. Again, it's the GPS. You put in a destination point, and depending upon which right turns or wrong turns you take, you will take a very different path. But at the end of the day, you will get to a destination, even though it may not be the destination. Finding yourself in these times really requires self-reflection. A lot of inner work of, where do I have narratives that don't align with my best interest and self-preservation, because it is based on either fear or just learned behavior. As you begin to explore what makes you you, you will see the world through a different lens, because it's not that people are hateful. They are programmed. They are trained to either be killers or lovers. And you can't change that imprint within them. Only they can, if they so desire. And other than that, you will just annihilate everyone if you don't figure this out. Humanity will survive at some level. The species will bounce back, but it may not be what you want or they want. So why not collaborate and build a beautiful garden? We have so many different plants, structures, ornamentals that each of you finds beautiful. You can flow the garden, much like Disneyland. There are lots and lots of different attractions, and you can go to the part in the park that is designed for your enjoyment, or go to SeaWorld. But don't force everybody to have a homogeneous perspective on life. It is the spices in the dishes that bring the flavors to life. If you just simply had eggs without salt or pepper or salsa or whatever it is that you add, it would taste bland, mediocre. Allow the spices from different cultures and belief systems to create the texture in the tapestry by looking different than that which it surrounds. When you look at a sock that was darned, fixed during 100 years ago because you couldn't go to the store and just go buy another one, you will note that that part of the sock is thicker, is heavier. That is the richness of the tapestry that you all are creating right now as you self-correct along the way and fix what is broken instead of disposing of it and buying another bland sock that may look and feel good, but serves no purpose because as soon as it no longer serves its purpose, it is disposed of rather than made whole again. We encourage you all just to simply have a different perspective on what the purpose of life is. It is not who can amass the most power, wealth, and independence. It is interdependence that the universe is attempting to build right now. And it is a difficult process because it is based on individuation as well as recognizing that your neighbor is as important as you and finding purpose in serving them as much as you have purpose in serving you, but not from a codependent perspective, but interdependent. And it is simply a maturation of the soul that is required to understand this. And you will get there one way or the other, but it may not be pleasant, it may not be fun, and it may be fucking painful. But the universe, just like GPS, is always, and we cannot stress this, is always self-correcting. And you will continue to be guided on your life's journey and your life's path, no matter what your desire is, to a certain extent, because your soul came to get to that end destination. But how you get there, that's completely up to you all. And so it is. Namaste.